I will go to the altar of my God, the God of my joy and gladness. Alleluia. In the quiet of the boat at night, not yet catching any fish, the disciples were working away, the satisfying thwop of the net as it hit the water, the cool drips on their skin as they retrieved it, empty again. At least fishing was a time, even in the dark, where they knew what they were doing, how to read the signs, a place where they felt like they had a little bit of control. The events of the last few weeks were surely in their heads and on their hearts. What was going on? Just after daybreak, Jesus stood on the beach, but the disciples did not know it was Jesus. The sun's rising would have drawn their eyes to the east. A new day. And then from the quiet of the boat, they could hear him, just 100 yards off. Cast your net to the right side of the boat and you will find some. So they cast it. And they were not able to haul it in because there were so many fish. This bounty tipped off the beloved disciple. It is the Lord. And Simon Peter, knowing he'd want to post on Instagram, hurried to put some clothes on and jumped off the boat, swam to the shore. He couldn't get to Jesus fast enough. A good fire was waiting when the others arrived, the coals burning amber and white, some fish and bread warming for those who may have come along in the meantime. Bring some of the fish that you have just caught. Our Easter resurrection stories reveal God's desire that all of creation rush to be with God and flourish there. Jesus came to the disciples while in their element, a fishing boat. And we too are invited in the quiet, contemplative, and routine places of our lives to be with God, to the heart of God. And we'll find when we get to shore that the fire is already lit, the food is warming, and there will be plenty for everyone. And there, gathered up by God like the prodigal, we will find our integrity, our purpose, our direction. There we are offered more than we can possibly carry. In the Easter season, we learn how to hold on to this abundance, how to take the awe we encounter with God out into the world, into the parts of our lives where vocabularies differ and values conflict. Lately, our collective concern has been drawn from our proximate existential focus, is COVID in the side view or the rear view mirror, to the map of the world, and potential escalation of mutual, which is to say worldwide, destruction. Why? Why is he doing this? Why does he hate us? This is the question heard many times from victims of Russia's war on Ukraine. And then we are reminded of hate like that on our own shores. Perhaps hate at a lower temperature, but hate that annihilates all the same. Last week, a teacher wrote the New York Times advice column asking if she should trim her curriculum to avoid all controversial subjects because student hate speech was growing so much worse in her college classroom. Verbal cruelties veiled as academic debate between students. She wondered if it was her responsibility to protect students who would be othered or assaulted by these expressions. Of course, it's not only students who are at increased risk in the current climate of intolerance. Teachers, administrators, school board administrators, writers of state standards have all been threatened, canceled, and demonized. Those circumstances like these may make us, like the teacher, more inclined to hide our catch than to risk its cost. God invites us closer to prepare us to live faithfully, not retreating from the struggles of our times. Bring some of the fish that you've caught. The apostles' responses to Jesus and the resurrection narratives that we hear these past few weeks of Easter serve as models for our own response, our own faithful engagement, each with a different style, a different story, like ours. Peter's anxiousness to be with Jesus, Thomas's requirements to be able to believe, illustrate a variety of faith responses that demonstrate our similarity to the disciples. We, like Peter, have failed God and each other. We, like Thomas, have let doubt have the upper hand. Mary Magdalene, the beloved disciple, Thomas, and Peter are all faced with the impossible and yet find truth in it. Wherever we are invited to that same God-centered place. By discerning God's call to us, we can unburden ourselves of our guilt, our false sense of mastery, our desire for control, and we can welcome the divine as our guide in a world that we cannot manage alone, no matter our skill sets. Walter Brueggemann wrote, "In the presence of God, we are visited with the freedom of God, so that we are unafraid to live in the world, able to live differently, not needing to control, not needing to dominate, not needing to accumulate, not driven by anxiety." We are invited into God's peace, not to use God as a means to our ends, as a tool to manifest our personal desires, but to reveal God's truth by how we are in the world. We are called then through an open door toward justice building, peacemaking, to come, as Joan Chittister writes, face to face with God, face to face with the world, face to face with the self, and then, of course, something must be done. Where are the quiet places? Where are the nourishing practices that connect you with God's wisdom and renewal and grace? Listen for the voices at the shore of your heart. God is saying, I am here. Whatever the struggle is, I can help you. Whatever the hope is, I am with you. Bring some of the fish that you have caught. This Easter season, when we celebrate Christ's resurrection, what is emerging in you? Are there places in your life that have felt empty and wait to be filled? Does a long-carried mistake or injury have you hooked? Just as Peter was invited to bring his betrayal to Jesus and was forgiven, we can bring our nets full of sin and regret and hope to the one who offers all we need, new life through forgiveness. In turn, we can begin healing the world around us by forgiving others. The fish that you have just caught, bring them here. This Easter season, when the impossible is realized, what long dormant gift or dream is budding in you? I wonder how our faith community at Grace Cathedral might help you move toward the wholeness you seek, how we might nurture you so that you find your gifts are abundant enough to be shared with the world. Wonderful and new things are happening at the tomb, in a locked room, at the seashore, at Grace Cathedral. Now is the time, and you are being invited to the shore. Can you hear the voice that calls you? In this jubilant season of new life, our cathedral continues to grow, and very importantly, today we welcome our new Vice Dean, the Reverend Dr. Greg Kimura, who we welcome to our team, to our community, and to our shore. Greg, we invite you to bring some of the fish that you have caught, all of your gifts, all of your joys, all of your insecurities, your imperfections, your hopes. Join us in our flourishing. Grace Cathedral is entering an exciting next phase as we meet God together. Let's draw from that grace and offer it to the world to help feed and participate in the world that God invites us to.